So I see that people are slowly joining us, and we are both really excited about that one. For the beginning, I would like to make an introduction. I am Fotinia Thinelli, and I am the social media manager of GetResponse. And our honored guest today is Leslie Samuel. I am really sure that majority of you, or I would say all of you actually, that are live here with us today already know Leslie. But I would like to introduce him with a few words first before I pass the mic to him. So Leslie is the creator of Interactive Biology and the head of training for the Social Media Marketing Society. And today we invited him to share with us his special tips and tricks of email marketing and share with us all of his knowledge. Because if I remember right, of course, he will go on and share his own bio with us in a while. He has more than 10 years of experience in the field, so he's the best one to share with us all the tips and ideas on how we can succeed on email marketing, and not only. So I have been chatting with Leslie the past few weeks to prepare the webinar today, and I have to tell you that I am really excited because I know that he has prepared some great stuff to share with us. So stay tuned, and we will start in a couple of minutes. Leslie, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to have you here as well. It's a pleasure for us. So, if I remember right, Leslie, you're joining us from the States, right?
Yes, I'm in Florida in the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, that's nice. And I
Yes.
am joining from many miles away. I am located in Warsaw, in Poland. So, yeah, we have been thinking with Leslie that it would be nice to see from where you are joining us today. One of the most interesting things about webinars, at least for me, is the fact that we can interact and connect with people from all over the world. So it would be really nice to see you all, to see where you are all joining us from today. I would be really happy to see different locations. And oh, we have Rick saying that he's joining from Toronto,
Oh,
Canada. That's nice. So
cool.
we are pretty much, we need some people from Australia, I guess, people from Asia to cover the full globe.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So before we start, I just wanted to let you know all that we will have a Q&A in the end of the webinar. It will be around 10 to 15 minutes. So you will have the chance to ask all of your questions to Leslie and interact with him in a more personal way. So feel free to send your questions in the chat box during the whole time, at any time of the webinar. Also, the webinar is recorded, and you will all receive an email with a recording during the next days. That's all for me, at least for now. So, Leslie, I think we are all excited and ready to kick it off.
Awesome. And I see we have people here from Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C. and UK, Salem, Oregon. We've got Nigeria in the house, which is very exciting that we have people from all over the place. That's just awesome. I want to make sure really quick that you can see my slide when I put it up on the screen. Just let me know that you can see it. It looks good and we are ready to go. And let me know that you're excited because I'm excited. So I'm excited to share some awesome tips. Looks good. Yes. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Kent. You are awesome. Thank you for letting me know. So, what we are talking about today is email marketing for bloggers. We're going to be giving you the ultimate guide for success. That's what I want to get into. So, by the end of this training, by the end of this webinar, you should have a pretty definitive guide for what do I need to be thinking about as I am creating my email marketing strategy and using that to grow my business, using that to grow my blog, using that to grow what I am doing online. Now, before we get into all those details, you're probably wondering who exactly is this Leslie Samuel guy and why is he speaking to me today? So I'm going to give you a bit of a background into how I got to what I'm doing today, because that's going to set the stage for where we're going to go when it comes to email marketing. So it all started when I was in college. Yes, we're going way back then. This was back in like 19. Anyhow, we're not going to go exactly when it was, but it started when I was in college and I took a class, and the class was called, it was called systems physiology. It was a physiology class. And I remember being in that class And in that class, we started to learn about the nervous system. We were learning about the neurons and the processing that happens in the brain and the spinal cord and all that good stuff. We went into the circulatory system and how the blood was flowing through the vessels and through the heart. And I got so excited about it and so passionate about this that I wanted to go on and get a master's in neurobiology and get a PhD in neurobiology so that I could teach the kind of stuff that I was learning in that class because it was so fascinating to me. So then something happened. I started doing my master's degree. And when I was doing my master's degree in neurobiology, I had to do some research. And the exciting research that I was doing was on crickets. Yep, crickets. This insect that you see right there. Now, I don't know about you, but crickets is not something that excites me. But there I was doing my research on these crickets. I was taking the crickets, I was dissecting them under a microscope, recording from their neurons and all that good stuff. And it really, it wasn't what I was into because what I really wanted to do, I wanted to teach. This is what I was passionate about. I wanted to be in a class with students asking questions, teaching them about the nervous system, teaching them about the circulatory system, and all of that stuff. But instead, I was in a lab doing research. Yes, interesting research. Interesting research is what it is. But at a certain point, I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going on. I don't want to do this research anymore. Yes, I want to be a university professor, but I don't want to get the PhD. So forget about that. And I started teaching at a high school. But while I was teaching, I was still so passionate about the information and the kind of stuff that I wanted to teach. So I decided, I was learning about blogging, I was learning about YouTube and all that good stuff. So I decided I'm going to do something different. I can't be a professor, but I'm going to teach on YouTube. Yep, I was going to create content and put it on videos, make videos, put it on YouTube about the nervous system, circulatory system. I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it on my blog, and I'm going to grow that blog. This is what the blog looks like today. And what happened next was very interesting to see. The traffic just grew. You can see in this example right here, 100,000 sessions, and that's in 1 month. This is not over the lifetime. In 1 month, not from when I started, but during 1 month period, I was able to get over 100,000 visits to the site. And what happened as a result of that was absolutely amazing. As a result of what I was doing online, I actually got a job as a university professor, teaching in a doctor of physical therapy program to people that were getting their doctorates, even though I didn't have my doctorate, because of the content that I was creating online. And that was such an amazing experience. But then something happened that changed everything for me. And that's this: my son was born. Our first child, Noah, was born. And when that happened, I started to realize that while I was enjoying what I was doing, teaching and all that stuff, I was so busy that I had no time for my family, and that didn't sit well with me. So I decided to quit my job. My wife and I had a conversation, and we said, you know what? We're done. We're going to focus on what we're doing online. And as a result of what I've been doing online, I've been able to travel the world speaking on all kinds of stages. This one is in Australia. This is in Franklin, Tennessee, San Diego. I've been on TV and the news doing all kinds of stuff because of what I'd been doing online. And a huge part of what I've been doing, and this is what I tell people is one of the biggest assets when you're growing your online business, is building your email list. Your email list is one of your greatest assets as you are growing your online business. And this is the foundation of my business even today. Now, here's why I believe your email list is so important. Because yes, you can be on social media, Facebook and TikTok now, and all of these different platforms that you can create content on there. But here's the thing: you don't own Facebook. You don't own TikTok. You don't own Instagram, but your email list is something that you own and you control. And it's something that allows you to nurture a relationship with your subscribers. It is something that allows you to build a tribe of action takers. And by action takers, I want you to think customers, the people that are going to help you to grow your business. This is the main way that you are going to be able to connect with them, to engage them, to provide them with value, and even to convince them to buy your stuff. I've coached a lot of people that are building online businesses, and what we've seen is that most of the revenue comes through email marketing. For just about all of them, most of their revenue comes through email marketing. And what I want to walk you through right now is how you want to think about email marketing to set yourself up for success. Does that sound good? If that sounds good, drop a yes or something of that sort in the chat so that I can see that you are with me. And this, all right. So Presh says, yes, this sounds good. So that is exactly what we're going to get into right now. Fotini can't wait. Kent can't wait. Yes, yes. Awesome. Let's do it. Now, before we can get into that, Manny, there's something that we need to cover. Because, yes, your email marketing strategy is important, but there's something that is fundamental to that, and that is knowing exactly who your audience is. And here's what I mean when I say who is your audience. I'm talking about specifically who are they? What are their goals? What are their struggles? Because this is going to form the foundation for everything that you do in your email marketing. I'll give you an example using my experience. I am creating this I've created this interactive biology platform with videos and all kinds of content to help people that are struggling with biology. But it's not just, hey, for anyone that's struggling with biology. I got very specific on who I was trying to target. I was specifically trying to target university students that are studying biology. They're in their third or fourth year and they're taking a physiology class. You see how specific I got there? So when I say who are they, I'm not talking about you saying, oh, anyone can benefit from myself. No, I'm saying get very specific. Who are they? What are their goals? I know that my audience, what they want is they want to pass their physiology class. They're struggling. When we talk about what is their struggles, what are their struggles? They're struggling to understand what that professor is saying. Yes, it sounds like he's speaking English, but they don't understand it. Those are the people that I am targeting, and I know what they're trying to accomplish. They want to pass their class. I know what they're struggling. They can't understand their professor. They can't understand these very difficult concepts, so they need someone to break it down for them. So for you, the question is, who are you targeting? And maybe an interesting exercise, if you can put it in the chat right now, who specifically are you targeting when you create your content online? Who are you targeting with your online business? Who are you targeting with your email marketing effort? Just type briefly in the chat who you're targeting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that as we get through some of the content. So I see Precious saying she is targeting single mothers. Okay, that is starting to narrow it down a little bit. But who specifically are these single mothers? Like single mothers who are XYZ. Manny says entrepreneurs who know nothing about email marketing and they want to learn. You see, we got very specific there. Entrepreneurs, yes, they want to learn about email marketing, but they know nothing. That tells me that the kind of content that I'm going to be creating or you're going to be creating in that situation is beginner targeted content. People that are just trying to learn how to get started. Mike says people with credit and personal finance issues. This is awesome because you're telling me not just who the person is, but what they're struggling with, right? They're struggling with personal finance issues. And in that, they're going to have a whole lot of questions. I would invite you, not right now, but when we're done, to write a story about who this person is. I have a 3-paragraph story about my person that's named Christina. That's a college, a senior in college. She's struggling. She always wanted to be a doctor, but now she's in a physiology class and she's just struggling to make it and to figure out what this professor is saying. And I go into all kinds of detail because that is so fundamental in what we do online. Okay, so that's the first part. Who are you targeting? Now, once we know who you're targeting, then we can decide what is your public facing content going to look like. Now, this is very important because when you know who you're targeting and what they're struggling with, for example, entrepreneurs who know nothing about email marketing and they want to learn, now I can start creating public facing content that is targeting it directly at them. And that can be things like articles, like right here. This is an example of an article on my blog, or it can be a podcast. Here's a podcast that I do called The Leslie Samuel Show. Or it can be like for interactive biology, my videos. This is the main form of content that I am creating. And it's important for you to decide on the type of content that you're going to be creating that's going to be free and publicly available, because this is the thing. Unless you're running ads and all of that stuff, if you want to do it just organically, like I've done it, you want to be creating content that is focused on the things that your audience is struggling with. And if you don't have an audience yet, your potential audience, what are they struggling with? And you can see here in like some of the videos that I've done that have done very well, how to read an electrocardiogram. That's something that someone that's studying physiology needs to understand. How blood flows through the heart, the cardiac cycle, and so on and so forth. I create that content because my target audience, that is what they are looking for. And that is what I'm going to use to attract people. Now, one of the things that you'll notice when you watch these videos is, and on most of those videos, at the end of those videos, I say something along the lines of, hey, if you're enjoying this and you want more content to help make biology fun, head on over to interactive-biology.com. And I give them the URL where they can go to find out more and to get access to some exclusive content that I have over on that platform. So step number one, understand who your audience is, and then start creating the public facing content that's going to attract them. Does that make sense? If that makes sense so far, tell me yes or something along those lines in the chat so that I can know that what I'm saying is making some kind of sense to somebody that's out there. Yes, yes, yes. Ibrahim, Mike, Manny, awesome. Kent, yes, definitely. All right, then we're all on the same page. And now it's time to continue on with the setup. All right, so we know who we're targeting. We're creating public facing content. We're putting that, whether it's on our blogs or on YouTube, and putting that back on our blog, like what I did. And we're attracting that audience because we are creating the content that they are looking for. People are sharing it on social media and so on and so forth. Now we got to set up this email marketing process, right? The first step in that is we want to create our free gift. I call it a free gift because, it's just regular plain English. Some people say lead magnet or whatever. But the concept is you have something for free, and all they need to do is enter their name and their email address, or just their email address. So for me, I knew that my target audience struggles to pass their biology class, so I created this free guide, 10 tips to help you pass your biology class. And they can enter their name and email in order to get access to it. Now, the key thing here is this is focused on their struggle. It's not focused on, some amazing product that I have, because they don't care about some amazing product that I have. They care about what they're struggling with. They need help. They want to understand this stuff. So I focus on what they are struggling with. And then, of course, you create your forms or you create your landing page so that people can get access to it. Now, the cool thing here is if you create a landing page, that is even more targeted, right? You can send people directly to that landing page at the end of your videos. You can say, hey, if you want to get my free guide on 10 tips to pass your biology class, head on over to thisurl.com and they can go there and they can sign up. What I like about doing it this way above just sending them to the blog in general is if someone visits your blog, there's so many options for them to explore. They can check out the stuff in the sidebar, they can read an article, and then they can close that and move away. But when you send them to a landing page, it is specifically focused on getting them to opt in. And the beauty of that is, as you'll see in a little while, now we can get them to keep coming back because we can send them emails letting them know whenever we have more awesome content for them to consume. All right, so we create our forms, and then we're going to create our welcome/download email. Now, I keep this very simple. I promise them that they're going to get some free gift if they give me their name and email address. So, what I do in that first welcome email is simple. I tell them, I thank them for subscribing. Thank you so much for signing up. Then I say, as promised, here is my free guide on 10 tips to pass your biology class. And not just that, here's what you can expect. And what I will generally do is I will say something along the lines of, hey, on Fridays, I will send you tips to help you in your pursuit of passing, getting that A in that biology class. So I'm going to send resources and tips and all that good stuff, as well as keep you updated whenever I post new content that's going to help you on this journey to passing your biology class. So I like to keep this welcome email personally. I like to keep it simple. Let them know, hey, as I promised, here's the thing that I said you were going to get that helps to build some trust, because I said I'm going to do it and now I'm doing it. And here is what you can expect. You set those expectations. Next thing, you want to set up some key pages. There are a few key pages you want to set up. We spoke about the landing page. You can use a form that's in your sidebar or a form that's within your blog post or wherever on your blog. But some optional pages that I always recommend for people to create a thank you page, confirmation page, download page. What you're basically doing is you're holding their hand and guiding them through the process of signing up for your freebie. And yes, who doesn't love a good freebie? I agree with that 100%. And with the landing pages, you can set that up. If you're using GetResponse, obviously you can use their landing pages feature and easily create those pages that you can direct people to. That's the key. You're creating awesome free content. You have this amazing free resource, and the free resource can be very simple. Mine is something like 8 or 9 pages, and they love it, and it works. It's not overwhelming, but it's effective. All right. So we set up that process so that we can get people onto our email list. And then it is time to make sure that we follow up. The follow up is so important. Listen, people signed up as a subscriber. They gave you their name, their email address. They gave you some contact information, and they've told you that I want you to contact me with resources that are relevant to what I'm signing up for. This is why when you follow up with people, you want to do it in a way where you are building trust. So you want to ask yourself, number one, what are my people struggling with? How can I serve them? How can I help them? And by sending them resources on a regular basis, here's what's going to happen. They're going to come to know you, they're going to come to like you, and they're going to come to trust you, because whenever they see that email from you, then they know they're going to get valuable content. And that's how you build trust. I remember the first time I got into all of this and I wanted to learn about, how to build a blog. I stumbled onto someone's free ebook. And then when I stumbled onto his free ebook, I read the ebook, and it was a detailed ebook, and it was so valuable. Then the next thing that happened was he started sending me emails on a weekly basis. And whenever I got one of his emails, I thought to myself, oh man, this is good stuff. And I can take action based on the stuff that he's sending me for free. That is amazing. I absolutely love this. And what I found would end up happening is anytime I wake up in the morning and I come and I see I have a bunch of emails, but I see his name, I would jump directly to his name. Why? Because I know I'm going to get valuable tips that I can take action on and see some results. And then one day, and this is the beautiful part, one day he sent me an email. Hey, I am launching a membership site where you could sign up and pay $97 a month to get access to even more great content. And what I thought in that moment was, man, if I'm getting all of this content for free, what am I going to get if I pay $97? So I signed up immediately without even thinking about it. Why? Because he had built that trust. He had sent me content on an ongoing basis. He had his autoresponder sequence set up so that I was getting emails automatically that provided value, that dealt with the things that I was struggling with. And because of that, I trusted his content. And because of that, when he was ready to sell to me, I was there ready to buy. You get it? Makes sense, right? And since then, that's exactly how I've tried to build my business. And when I'm working with clients, that's exactly what I walk them through. This is how you build that trust. All right. So your autoresponder sequence, some things to consider. What's the value you're going to be providing? Because you know what they're struggling with, right? You know what they're dealing with because you went through that exercise of deciding who your audience is, what their goals are, and what they are struggling with. And because you know that, you can determine what kind of content you can provide to them that's gonna be valuable to them. Number two, you want to keep in mind the frequency. You don't want to overwhelm your audience, but you want to definitely be top of mind. So, sending them content on a regular basis. I like to start with doing this weekly and then giving people the option to get more value. All right. And it all depends on the kind of content you're creating as well. Like right now, we're creating 2 new videos every single week. And whenever we create a new video, we are sending that email letting them know. Another thing you want to keep in mind is future promotions. This is one tip that I like to share because, every once in a while, if you're doing this as a business, you're going to have something to promote. So what I like to do is reserve one day for those promotions. I know promotions work well for me when I send them out on Mondays. I have some clients that it works very well for them when they send it out on Fridays or Saturdays because of their target audience and when they're more likely to be available. So, what I do then is when I set up my autoresponder sequence, I will make sure not to have any emails automatically go out on Mondays. That way, it never doubles up. They never wake up and have multiple emails from me. They can focus on the one that I sent them that day. So those are just some key things to consider. Now, I also like to use one-time broadcasts. So, for example, if I have a new blog content or a specific promotions, I will send these out as a broadcast. So those are some of the things that you want to take into consideration when you are setting up your follow-up process, your autoresponder sequence, so that you can provide the value that your audience is looking for. You can gain that know, like, and trust factor. That's exactly what you want to accomplish. Okay, now if we're good so far, we're gonna go to the best part. The best part, in my opinion. Are we good so far? Let me know in the chat. Just say yes, we're good so far, or some. Just say yes, and then I'm gonna know that you're ready to get to what I think is the best part of when you're using email marketing to grow your business. All right, we've got some yeses. Yes, yes, good so far. Awesome, sweet. We're on the same page. Well, then, all right, some more yeses coming in. So, well, since we're on the same page, let's get to this part, the sale. All right, because as we've said, you know who your audience is, you know what they're struggling with. So, here's your job when it comes to the sale. You want to answer the question, what products or services are going to bridge that gap from where they are to where they want to be? What valuable content can you promote to them that's going to help them to accomplish their goals? or it's going to help them to overcome the things that they are struggling with. And that maybe, you're promoting an affiliate product, so one where you don't create the product or provide a service. And that's a relatively easy way to get started. Or it could be your own product, one that you create, or a service that you provide, or it could be a combination of both. Now, here's how this worked for me. I remember when I first got into email marketing and I was growing my biology email list. I wanted to see if I could find an affiliate product that I could promote. And I went out there and I found an anatomy and physiology study guide, which is perfect because it's exactly what my audience was looking for. So I crafted an email. I let them know, hey, I found this anatomy and physiology study guide. Here is what it covers. This is what I love about it. If you're interested in checking it out, you can go here and purchase. Now, when I did that, of course, you want to disclose as well that if they do purchase, you get a commission. That's just for legal reasons. But I remember that the first email I ever sent out to promote an affiliate product, I made $200. And my mind was blown. I'm like, wait a minute, I just sent out one email and I made $200. For some of you, you might be thinking, well, that's not a lot. For some of you, you might be thinking, oh man, that would be amazing. But regardless, that was my first affiliate promotion. And as a result of sending that one email, I made $200. That felt really good. And I knew that if I could replicate that over and over, I could make significantly more money. And that's exactly what has happened over the years. So here's really what it boils down to when it comes to your email marketing success journey. You're creating free content. The free content that you are creating is really focused on, hey, what is my audience struggle? Who is my audience? What are they struggling with? What problems are they facing? What are they trying to accomplish? What do they need to learn? What do they need to understand? So you create a bunch of that free content to answer those questions, to provide that value, and to attract that audience. I'm fascinated right now. For some of you, you might not care about this, but I'm fascinated right now by how many of my friends and colleagues are going on TikTok and they are just creating little short bits of content that are relatively easy to produce, but it's focused on their particular audience. And they've been able to attract tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even into the millions of followers. That is a tremendous opportunity right now to create free content and get in front of people that are active and that are looking for content. So you create that free content on whatever platform. You leverage other people's platforms, like these social media platforms, to then point people to your free resource. And you can do that, of course, using GetResponse. And then when they sign up for that free resource, you provide them with exclusive content, the good stuff. The good stuff that goes a little beyond what is freely available, the good stuff that answers the questions they have, the good stuff that makes recommendations for things that would be valuable for them, and the good stuff that nurtures that relationship so that they come to know, like, and trust you. And then, of course, when you have something to promote, whether it's a product or a service that you're promoting as an affiliate, whether it's a product or a service that you are creating and providing yourself, whatever that is, you've now structured your online business to where you have a funnel that's bringing people all the way from your free content all the way down to these sales. And now you are making more money in your online business. So as you move forward and as you think about, man, email marketing, there are all kinds of tactics and strategies that I read about. It really just comes down to this core idea: create content of value that attracts an audience. Take that audience down a journey from that free facing content to that free resource that you create that they can get in exchange for their email address, that then you then send them content on an ongoing basis that nurtures that relationship by providing them with value, that then takes them all the way down to becoming customers when you have something to promote and some valuable resource to share with them. So, on that note, that is pretty much the entire process. And we're going to take some questions. I'm excited about that part. I hope you got a lot of value from what I've shared so far. And I'm happy now to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you very much. That was a great presentation. I really enjoyed actually. This is something that we were talking about it before while
Mm-hmm.
we were preparing the webinar, and I was really curious to see. You told me that you're gonna make it in a more interactive way, so I am really happy actually that we did that way, that we did it that way,
Awesome.
because I think it was the best case to interact with our audience here. So let me enable our Q&A so people can actually start sending us their questions. So let's give the people some time. And before we jump into the Q&A, I have a couple of questions for you actually,
Sure.
because I was watching your presentation really, and I was really hooked and noting down some tips for my own job and my career as
Awesome.
well that would help me. So I really like the fact that you highlighted the tips and best practices
Mm-hmm.
on how we can succeed and how we can grow. But I would like to ask you something different, because
Okay.
as a person, I really believe that learning from our mistakes is how we can eventually grow even more in the
Mm-hmm.
future. So, based on your experience during all of these years and on your career, what are the most common mistakes that you have noticed people making while they are either preparing their setting up their email comms or nurturing their leads?
Yeah, so the biggest mistake that I've seen when it comes to people building their online business using email marketing and so on is that they focus on their products. Now, here's what I mean by that. I have a business and my business sells a particular product. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a focus on that, but here's the reality. This is just the cold, hard truth that we may not want to hear sometimes. Nobody cares about your product. Nobody cares about what you have to offer. What they really care about is what they have going on. Like what are they trying to accomplish? What are they struggling with? And what I find too many people do is they send out emails and all they're focusing on is, hey, we have this amazing product that you need to get. Hey, we have this amazing product that you need to get. Now, your product may be amazing, but how does that fit into the context of what people are struggling with? That is what I find is the biggest mistake when it comes to the content we post on social media. We're just promoting our stuff, or the content that we have in our email follow up, or the resources that we create. You want to put yourself in the mind of the person that you are trying to attract, and you want to think about what they're dealing with. So, for example, someone said that someone might be struggling with email marketing. Okay, so the entrepreneurs that are just getting into email marketing and they don't know where to get started. They don't know where to get started. So show them how you get started. Give them some valuable tips. Share with them resources that are going to help them. Oh, and by the way, I have this product or service that can help you on this journey. For me, for example, I have an amazing study guide that that I've sold over the years. I can just send email after email promoting that study guide, or I can send email after email addressing something that I know my target audience is dealing with, and then letting them know, hey, and by the way, we cover this in detail in this study guide that you can check out. So I'm still promoting, I'm still talking about my product, but I'm framing it in the context of what that person, what they are dealing with. And I believe that that is the best way to do it. When you focus more on your potential customer, on your audience, and what they want, and then let them know that I do have this resource here that is going to help you to solve this specific problem.
I couldn't agree more, actually. And I think that this is the way that the full marketing industry is going anyway at this moment, more into the
Absolutely.
human centered approach, more into
Exactly.
trying to solve our audience's problems and not only focusing on our product. So I am with you 100% on that one.
Awesome.
So I see that we have some questions
Okay.
already. Mike is asking, will we get an email highlighting this conversation? For sure, Mike. The webinar is recorded, so you will receive an email during the next days with the recording, and you can enjoy it anytime you want and go back to Leslie's tips. I'm going to go with the next question here. Uh, it's coming from Buyanemek. I am really sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right. The question is how to find out or know what they need struggling with from a list of leads who got our freebie lead magnet.
Oh, that is a great question. Here's the very scientific, detailed answer to that question. If you want to know what they're struggling with, ask them. It really is that simple. You want to ask them, hey, what are you struggling with? What can I help you with? One of the questions that I like to ask is if you could wave a magic wand and have your biggest problem solved when it comes to studying biology or whatever your industry is, what problem would you solve? I find it's a great idea to simply ask them. That's one thing. Another thing you can do in asking them is send them a survey. And in that survey, you can say, hey, um, uh, are you struggling with, rank these in order from least to greatest struggle? Which ones are you struggling with the most? And you can ask multiple questions to get insight from your audience on what they think about different aspects of things that are going on in your industry. So that's another way. Now, whenever I answer a question that way, one of the things that I get is, yeah, but I'm just starting out and I don't have an audience or I don't have a big email list. How do I find out what my audience is struggling with? Here's the great thing about the world that we live in today. There are all kinds of communities that you can find online, whether it's Facebook groups or, communities around a certain blog or whatever the case might be. You can go in those communities and you can just scan through and see, hey, what questions are people asking? What topics are coming up over and over and over? That's an indication of what your target audience is struggling with. So, whether you are just getting started and you have no email list and you're trying to figure out what people are struggling with, or you have an email list and you can survey and ask them directly, you can always find out what those key things are.
I think that was a really good answer here as well. And I really enjoyed this question because I believe that many people, especially people who are just getting started, are feeling the same way. And if I go back to my first steps, I was always thinking the same way, like what should be done here? What should be done in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on with the next one. It's coming from Presh. I have a
Okay.
list of about 1,000. How do you re-engage your audience if you stopped emailing for months?
That's a great question. This has happened to me multiple times where, whether it's a child being born and I step away from my business for a while, or, personal family issues, and I haven't been able to connect with people for a while. Here's what I always do. I always come back and I send the next email and I let them know, hey, I've been away for a while. Here's why. And then I say, but here's what you can expect from me going forward. And it's that simple. Explain what's happened because, when you stop emailing people for a long time, what you're doing is you're actually somewhat breaking that trust a little bit. Because if they expected, hey, I'm going to get an email from you once a week and I'm going to be looking forward to that email, and then one week it doesn't come, and then the next week it doesn't come, and then the next week it doesn't come, you're losing some of that trust and you have to do some work to build that back up. So I like to approach this very straightforward and honestly. Hey, I've been away for a while. Here's why. Now, I may not go into all of the details, especially if it's personal stuff, but then I just let them know But I am back. And now that I'm back, I have a renewed energy and excitement to provide you with more great, awesome content. And here's what you can expect from me going forward. And just like that, now all you have to do is live up to what you tell them they can expect from you going forward. And you're in the process of restoring that relationship. So that would be my recommendation for you, Presh.
That's a good approach. And I think that transparency is the key and honesty is the key. So
Exactly.
there's nothing better than being honest with them and tell them what happened, or maybe even not. Just say that you have been away for a couple of months, but you are back now. So, yeah, that was a
Love
good
it.
one as well. We have another one coming from Chris, and he's asking if you could please talk about blogging strategies. For example, what blogging system do you use with GetResponse and how you integrate it?
Ah, yes, great question. So when it comes to blogging, the platform that I use and the only one that I really recommend is WordPress. WordPress does a really great job at making it relatively simple. I know there are easier ones out there, but the key thing with WordPress is that you have all of these plugins that you can use to expand the functionality of WordPress, and things that are really good for optimizing for search engines and for building your email list and for all kinds of things, adding shopping carts and so on. A lot of the simpler systems, you end up having to pay for some of the additional features that you can get for free using WordPress. So WordPress is what I would recommend, and that integrates with GetResponse. It integrates with any platform that I've been able to find. There's a way to integrate it with WordPress. So yeah, and I know GetResponse also has a plugin that makes that process relatively simple. So you can use the GetResponse WordPress plugin. I'm a big fan of WordPress and how it integrates with all of the different platforms that I care about. So you have email marketing platforms, but then you also have social media platforms, and it has great ways of integrating with those platforms as well.
That's what I wanted to say as well. When you mentioned WordPress, I know that many bloggers love WordPress, and this is one of the most useful platforms that they are using. And
Absolutely.
GetResponse for sure is in the, you can integrate GetResponse with your WordPress account, and you can get benefit of all of the features we have integrated with WordPress. So I really recommend Chris to give it a look and give it a try.
Absolutely. And another thing that I wanted to mention with GetResponse and the integration with WordPress, the beauty of that is then you can also do things based on what pages on your site they visit, on your WordPress site. So there are all kinds of features that you can leverage because you're using a platform like WordPress.
Exactly, exactly. We have many bloggers actually that are part of our GetResponse team and
Mm,
are enjoying our software. So that's
absolutely.
why I thought that Chris could have many benefits of that integration for sure. Let's
Definitely.
go on with the next one. It's coming from Anika. Do you think bulk creating emails is a good way to keep a good flow going?
Absolutely. That's what I highly recommend. In fact, this is what I do. I will take like a day where I'm just focusing on writing emails, and I'll just write as many emails as I possibly can, and I will do that every so often. And then let's say you've promised your audience that they're going to get a weekly email from you on Fridays, right? What I would then do is I would write out 10 emails, and then I'd schedule those things out for the first 10 weeks. And then when I get another chance, I might write out 10 more or 15 more, and then I'd add that on. And eventually now I have 52 weeks of emails. And the awesome part about that is if someone joins your email list in a year or in 5 years, they're gonna get those 52 weeks of emails for 52 weeks straight. So I highly recommend bulk creating your emails. Another reason why I highly recommend bulk creating your emails is once you're in the mindset of content creation, you just kind of flow. I mean, you said to keep a good flow. Yes, you just flow because it's fresh on your mind. You know what the previous email is because you just wrote it. So go to the next email and then go to the next email. Another way of approaching it, depending on your time availability and so on, is you can create them. Let if it's weekly emails, You can create them once a week if your time is very limited, but then you just add it on to the end of that sequence so that the people that are joining when you are just joining your business, they're moving with you. But the people that join a year from now, they're going to go through that entire sequence as well. So I definitely think bulk creating emails is a good way of doing it. And if that works for you, I recommend it. If it doesn't work for you, you find a way that does work for you.
Thank you, Leslie, again.
You're
So
welcome.
I have another question actually that
Okay.
came to my mind while you were explaining, while you were giving an answer on this one. You have mentioned before while you were presenting that when you create a YouTube content, you usually think that this is a good idea to create an email out of it and send a newsletter out of it. And here you mentioned that maybe you can send weekly newsletters, or I know some people or companies are using bi-weekly newsletters. So
Hmm.
when it comes to you and again your experience, what do you think is the best frequency? How many emails should someone send per week?
Yes. The answer to that, my answer to that question is as many emails as they would take, but not too much. And I know that's not specific at all, but here's how I approach it. I generally speaking would recommend starting with trying to schedule one email a week. And then from there, you can build on that so that as people are more interested, depending on how interested they have options to start getting more content from you. So for me, I start with one a week and then I adjust accordingly. So then I might not, like, now I'm creating two pieces of content every week. So I send out two emails. What I'm going to do next is give people an option. Hey, if you don't want to hear from me as often, because what right now, if they don't want to hear from me as often as I'm sending, the option that they have is to unsubscribe completely. I don't want that, and they might not want that. Maybe they only want to hear from me once a week. Well, I can give them the option to say, hey, I'm interested in this content, but I prefer to get a weekly summary. Or I'm interested in this content, but I prefer to get a monthly summary. That way, what you're doing is you're giving people options so that they can get from you what they want from you. This goes back to what we said about understanding your audience and
Mhm.
what they're dealing with and what they're struggling with. And if one of the things they're struggling with is time to read your emails because you send so many emails, because once a day that you've been sending emails might be a bit overwhelming for some people, then you can give them the option to get a lesser frequency. So I start with once a week and I adjust and test accordingly. And then I like to give people the option to either downgrade the frequency or to get more value from me.
Exactly. And I think that after a while, after you start building your list, it's all about segmentation as well. You
Exactly.
segment your audience and figure out what type of email is the best email for your specific segments and lists. So eventually, and you will not send your full communication to everyone because in the end, it might backfire. As we know,
Exactly.
people are receiving many emails and newsletters every day. So you need to be really on point with your communication.
Absolutely. I've been through so many experiences where I'm getting like daily emails from a company and I'm like, I don't want daily emails, but you're not giving me an option for getting less emails, so I unsubscribe and then I never hear from the company again. That's a loss for them. So if you can segment your audience based on what they want, that's going to be most effective for you.
Exactly, exactly. So the next one is about how do I frame the email to engage them further in taking decision to buy?
Ooh, that is a great question. How do you frame the email to engage them further in taking the decision to buy? Here's how I do it. I provide value and then I give them the option to buy. A lot of times what get from emails is I have this amazing offer, you need to take it. Okay. Now, if I've done enough research in the product and I'm really comfortable with what this offers and I've been wanting to sign up for it, now I see you have a promotion, I might sign up and get that discount and save. But what I prefer to do is some level of education, some level of providing value. And then walk them into how this product or this service can be the thing that helps them with that particular thing that they just learned about. That's the way I approach my sales emails, as an education process. I approach them as I'm taking people down a journey. Let me give you an example. Um, uh, I might say, for example, let's say I have people that are signing up to my email because they just went through and watched some videos on the circulatory system. And when they watched those videos on the circulatory system, they saw I had a guide to the circulatory system. They sign up, they get that guide to the circulatory system. Now, at a certain point, I might send them an email with one really good tidbit about the circulatory system, and then let them know that, hey, just like you got this little value from me, I have more value on the nervous system and the respiratory system, just like this. And if you want to get some of that value, here is a special offer that I have that you can take advantage of. So that's one of the ways that I like to do it. Another way that you can do it, sometimes what I like to have is like a sense of urgency, like whether it's a special offer that I have that's available for a limited time. That is something that I find really does help to boost sales. And I don't do that often, but every time I do that, I always see that uptick in sales because I know it's relevant to them and it's something that's going to save them some money.
Thank you for that. I
You're
hope
welcome.
I hope we you answered uh, Kamaldin's concerns with that one.
Awesome.
And let's jump to one last question, actually, because we will be shortly running out of time. It's about, could you please tell us more about what strategy to apply and how to prepare newsletter? More about newsletter.
Okay, so newsletters. The way that I like to use newsletters is, and I'm assuming by a newsletter you're talking about something where you're summarizing different resources or you're providing different levels of value. The way that I generally like to do this, like I have one client right now that I was just working with, and she is revising her newsletter to provide more value. And how she does it is this way, and it's similar to something that I just said. You provide a little bit of value right at the top, and then you highlight certain features, whether that's features of content or features. In her case, it's for products. She has a blog selling, she has a blog and a website selling products for people that have chickens, backyard chickens, and they need some products in order to help with this whole backyard chicken thing, whatever it is. What she does now is she has a brief story at the top that captures their attention, that builds some intrigue and provides some value. And then, related to that content right at the top, she highlights pieces of content, and then she highlights a product that they can buy that is going to provide them value for their chickens. And that tends to work. Story at the top provides value, highlighting content or highlighting products. And that's a great way of providing the value, but also keeping them aware of some of the things that you have available, either for purchase or for consumption.
Great example, Leslie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great example. So I think that we are running out of time, and unfortunately, we don't have any other space to take any other questions. So, having said that, I would like to invite you all to go and check Leslie's website, interactivebiology.com, interactive-biology.com, as you write it. And there you can find more about Leslie, and make sure that you are signed up to his newsletter to learn more about his tips and how he's actually incorporating everything that he shared with us today on his own strategy. And
Absolutely.
also, if you're not already signed up, you should take a look at GetResponse, our marketing automation software. You can now create your free account, which is, of course, part of our free forever plan. And it includes free lead generation, free email marketing, and free website builder tools. So, thank you very much, Leslie. It was a pleasure working with you. It was a pleasure having you here today with us and chat with you. And I hope that we will see you soon and we will host together another webinar.
Thank you very much. It was fun, and I'm so glad that people got value from it.
For sure, for sure. Thank you, Leslie. See you all in one of our next webinars. Bye,
Take
everyone.
care.